Bombshells, busties, bouncers, bobbies, Bronskis, buttons, pops, boots, bullets, busters, Betty Boops, and big boppers, bonbons, bongos, boulders, bean bags, balloons, bebops, billabongs, butterballs, bumpers, bonkers, boobs. Oh, hey, sorry. I was just checking out those awful tan lines. Anyway, hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that teaches you important life lessons. Like last time when we talked about how to use body language to tell if someone's lying to you, truly a useful skill. This week will be no different. We're still practicing tactics that will help us identify liars, just a different type of liar, and we won't be looking at their faces to do it. The theme today, natural knockers versus falsified fun bags. Because really, who wouldn't want this ability? Take for instance Ivy Valentine, Lara Croft, and Mai Shiranui. Truly, they carry around the grandest of Tetons in gaming. Their Titanic tatas seem like natural impossibilities, but are we prematurely assuming they're augmented? And how about the women of Nintendo? Could the perky polygons of Peach, Zelda, and Samus actually be the doings of Dr. Mario? By the end of this faptastic episode, you'll have become a real-life lens of truth, able to identify who's sporting a silicone set and whose humdingers are 100% homegrown. Now, identifying the difference between an organic cantaloupe and a lab-grown cassava can be quite the challenge, especially since push-up bras, padding, and implants have all gotten considerably better in recent years. Science, changing the world for the better. There is one easy way to tell though, and that's by touching them. Pumped up papayas will always feel harder than a natural breast. Sadly though, this isn't an option for us since 1, we're talking about virtual women, and 2, we're gamers. Bragging about our high score in Burger Time isn't getting us any closer to unlocking Baldur's Gate, if you know what I mean. So in life, and in games, we're left to judge by what we see. So what are we looking for? Mai Shiranui from King of Fighters will show us everything we need to know. Mai serves as a great tutorial this week because she, being a strong, independent, and progressive woman, leaves her breasts unfettered. In other words, her sweet chariots swing low. And this is our first major indication that Mai's melons are au naturel. You see, real breasts respond to a woman's movement. When walking, they bounce, when laying down, they flop to the side, and when bending over, they respond to gravity, becoming more conical. Fake breasts tend not to move as freely and tend to hold their round shape in all positions. But as we can see here, there is no stopping Mai's motherlode. They do it all. Marking time like a pendulum, flopping when fatigued, and getting so excited that they just move on their own for no real reason. Also, real breasts have a slight sag in them, whereas fake ones appear to defy gravity, forming more of a cliff rather than a gently sloping hill. For example, compare Mai's chest to gaming's heraldess of the hoo-ha, Lara Croft, and you can clearly see the difference. Lara's rack just floats there 3 feet from her body. Either her underwire is a suspension bridge, or Lara's got herself a set of store-bought silos. Also notice that Lara's love muffins never move. If she wanted, she could probably prop herself up on a ledge with those things. Look, Ma, no hands! Mai's, in the other cup, may be large, but they have a natural fall to them, indicating that they're real. Her God-given gravitas brings to mind the words a wise woman once spoke. They're real, and they're spectacular. One other telltale sign to look out for is something I've labeled butt crack cleavage. For an example, look at Blondie here from TNA Extreme Beach Volleyball. Oh, does she have a name? With this game I didn't think it mattered. Anyway, see how the cleavage here is pushed up and rounded, making it appear as though she has a butt in the middle of her chest? This either means the breasts are fake, or her twins are getting a big push from underneath, which in this case, she is clearly not. So keep in mind this rule of thumb: butt crack on chest, inflated breast. So what about Ivy from Soul Calibur then? Her jumbo-sized jubblies would certainly seem artificial, and her choice of costumes certainly gives us plenty to look at. But the answer here isn't quite so clear-cut. Looking at the gameplay, her chesticles certainly move around quite a bit. Quite a bit indeed. And round though they are, a brief look at her official figurine shows that they have quite a bit of sag, being slightly larger at the bottom than the top. What gives us our definitive answer though is this. I'm sure you're asking yourself what exactly we're looking at here because we've been staring at Ivy's chest for the last 30 seconds of the video. It's the placement of her top. In all that it reveals, it's what it doesn't reveal that tells us the truth. You see, nipples always tend to be symmetrical and point in the same direction. Botched boob jobs, on the other hand, leave them pointing in different directions. Now look at Ivy's chest. I ask you, where are her nipples? Now, let's just take a moment here to reflect on the question that I've just asked. We're about to play Pin the Nipple on the Boobie, all in an effort to determine if a virtual woman has fake breasts. I just wanted to recognize the sheer heights of absurdity this show sometimes reaches. Anyway, digression over. Looking at these carefully photoshopped diagrams, if her nipples are here, they'll point in the same direction, making them anatomically correct, but they'll also be disturbingly high and unusually small for her breast size. In other words, freakish flapjacks. That means her nipples must be located here, off-center and pointing in completely opposite directions, which would only happen artificially after implants. So for as realistically as they behave and as good as they look, leave them covered because Ivy's umlauts are unnatural. Now, before we tackle the women of Nintendo, let's put our knowledge to use by playing a game I like to call Spot That Implant! Pretty self-explanatory. I show you a rack, you determine its realness. Obvious, right? Heidi Montag here has a severe case of butt crack cleavage. Sorry, Heidi, your hills are a hoax. Lil Kim here is all grown up and not afraid to show it, but her pasty-covered peeper is clearly pulling an alphaba by defying gravity. Super size me indeed. Maxie Mounds here measures in at a size 42 double J. Shayla Hershey, 28-year-old Texan housewife, at 38 KKK. I don't even know what that means. I barely understand a C cup. I cannot grasp the true form of these breasts. But I do know that neither set of gargantuas sag. Miss Mounds and Miss Hershey, besides sharing candy bar names, strangely, have also been fighting over the world record for largest artificial breasts. Finally, we come to Norma Stitz, cup size 102 triple Z, world record holder for the largest natural breasts on the planet. Weighing in at 56 pounds each, she doesn't wear bras, she wears cranes. Norma Stitz, world's largest tits. Which segues nicely into gaming's most famous female trio, the modest mounds of Zelda, Samus, and Peach. Surely Nintendo, with its high moral standard and squeaky clean image, has allowed its tastefully titayed women to retain their natural assets, right? Wrong. All of Nintendo's women are sporting sets bought by Daddy. Don't believe me? Here's the evidence. Exhibit A. Their breasts don't move. Ever. I don't care how tight your latex is, Zero Suit Sammy. While you're smashing brothers, your sisters should be swaying. And I know what you're thinking. Just because Nintendo doesn't believe in jiggle physics doesn't automatically mean that they endorse artificial airbags. So we need some more evidence. And that's where it starts to get hard, if it hasn't gotten there already. The ladies are so well covered and so pleasantly proportioned, it's hard to judge using the other telltale signs we've talked about today. Which means I have to pull out my secret weapon, math. Studies show that the average distance between a woman's nipple and her chin is 10 inches. As you get taller, this distance should increase. If it's significantly less than 10 inches, either you have a set of falsies, or your Wonder Bra is more of a miracle bra. So how do you test the measurements of virtual maidens? Let me explain. The heights of Peach and Zelda in my research have never actually been defined. However, in the Player's Guide to Super Metroid, Samus is listed at 6 foot 3 inches tall. Using a highly complicated mathematical technique I call proportions, I was able to calculate that Peach is 5 foot 10 and Zelda stands at an Amazonian 6 foot 5 inches. When considering that the average female height is about 5 foot 4 inches, all three are significantly taller, meaning that their chin to nipple distance, if they're sporting real breasts, should trend greater than 10 inches. Ivy, for example, who's 5 foot 10, 6 inches taller than the average, mind you, locks in at 11 inches when her nipples are assumed to be in their real position. The Nintendo women, Samus and Zelda's chin to nip distance, 8.5 inches. Peach, who I remind you is the shortest of the bunch, has a chin nipple distance of 6.6 inches, meaning that either she has no neck or a boosted pair of bosomses. It would appear that Dr. Mario has a pretty sweet side business going on. So there you have it, a veritable boobapalooza. But what have we really learned today? Only this. A boob in the hand is worth 2 on the screen. Anyway, that's just a theory. A game theory. I need a cold shower.